A roundtable featuring Andy Reid and a player who starred on both sides of the ball for Andy Reid. Today, on a Big Red edition of NFL Films Presents. Now that the Super Bowl has aged past the Big 5-0, some NFL coaching trees are in their third or even fourth generations. They often start with an icon like Bill Parcells.
The rest of your life, man, nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
And can branch off into even bigger success stories.
No coach had ever won 5 until tonight. Bill Belichick has.
The legendary Bill Walsh coaching tree included Super Bowl winner Mike Holmgren.
To the coaches, players, this trophy's for you, man. Everybody.
Holmgren then assembled an all-star staff with the Packers that included Steve Mariucci,
Boys, I saw confidence.
Yes! Boom, boom, boom!
John Gruden,
How about those Chiefs, baby?
and current Chiefs and former Eagles coach Andy Reid.
How about those Eagles, baby?
So you go back with Marty, you coached.
Steve Sable had the chance to sit down with Holmgren's bunch back in 2002.
Is there one guy here that you could say, I'm really surprised he's a head coach? A couple of them.
In 2017, Andy Reid has his own coaching tree with 9 ex-assistants who went on to become head men.
Okay, how are you?
Good, how are you? Reid and I sat down with 5 of them who are currently head coaches. The Jets' Todd Bowles, Sean McDermott of the Bills, the Eagles' Doug Peterson, Ron Rivera of the Panthers, and the Ravens' John Harbaugh.
Let's start at the very beginning, the first time you met Andy Reid.
I guess my first impression was just, I felt like I was talking to a ball coach, a good guy. You know, you're nervous. I mean, you're hoping to stay on. You're hoping to have a chance to continue to coach in the National Football League, and coach just made you feel right at ease.
Let's get a body on a body. Watch the crazy stuff.
Let's go.
Let's kick their ass.
Let's go, man. Bring it in here now. What coach said. Watch that first approach.
Your experience is a little different because you were a player.
Mine is different. I was just going to say that. I was a third-string quarterback, so, you know, we're getting Brett Favre ready to play, not Doug Peterson.
Earl, let that guy out. Killed him.
Doug Peterson was Andy Reid's first starting quarterback in Philly,
Yeah, look at the one across.
and later his quarterback's coach.
And now you get your shoulder back through, and you can make the throw. And bring it down. You guys talked about that? That's why you're a good coach, see? Huh?
Peterson followed Andy to Kansas City before ascending to Big Red's old seat in Philly, where he has his Eagles playing like Super Bowl contenders.
Touchdown! Touchdown!
The players right now just have that confident mindset when they take the field on game day that they're not going to be denied.
Did you learn anything about dealing with the media from Coach?
Of course, now being in that market, I can see why his answers were extremely short.
Andy, what's this team need to do to improve on third and short situations?
We need to convert them.
What do you mean? Is Philly a
yes.
difficult market?
I got no
Yes.
gray hair a year ago.
Yeah.
We did not do a very good job, and that starts with me.
Were you aware of the fact that a Philly radio station had an over-under set on the amount of times you would clear your throat in a press conference? Is that a nervous tick, or is that just like...
Defense mechanism.
Yeah, exactly.
Excuse me, we'll get it fixed.
A lot of teams do that. They're going to be hard on you. On the radio shows, they're going to be talking good or bad about you.
You know what? Peterson doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and he's throwing it too much.
He's obsessed with how he has to pass the ball to get down the field, which is a typical West Coast trait that he learned from Andy, who learned from Holmgren and everybody else.
And I don't think there was ever a time where Coach Reid said anything to the media that your family would look at and go, why would he say that?
First of all, it starts with me.
It starts with me.
Listen, this is my responsibility.
You know, I'll take responsibility for it.
I accepted the responsibility.
That's my responsibility. This is my football team.
All of it falls on me. I'm the head coach.
Todd, what was your first impression?
I learned very quickly that when he looks over his eyeglasses, then he has a problem with you.
Did you know that you do that? You look over the eyeglass? Is that on purpose?
I didn't. No. Old people do that.
Young people, too.
You seem to be a coach that draws a lot of impersonations from fans. Have you guys seen fans that dress up like Coach Reid?
Run the ball! There will be no running of the ball.
You guys, the mustache twitch?
Yeah,
Does anybody
mustache twitch,
recognize the mustache twitch? The mustache twitch, if you say something, the coach kind of like is like, I'm not sure what he's thinking exactly what he would say, but he doesn't say it. But the mustache starts to twitch sideways a little bit. You're like, okay, let me rephrase this. Let me go to another direction here. So Andy had a schedule every night. We did it exactly the same way. We had this big hill we'd walk up. So I'd be walking up the hill, and then here comes the SUV, the big SUV. And Andy rumbles up one day. Usually we just kind of blow by, you know. He rumbles up, kind of stops. Window rolls down. He goes, want to ride? I'm like, he's like 10 feet away from him. Nah, I'm good, Coach. He just rolled up, just kept going. I thought to myself, I wish I'd have had the audacity to say, Coach, you ever think about walking up the hill here? But I never had the courage to say that, so right now.
Might not have been able to make it.
No idea how you do it. But I know this, your heart's as big as my waist.
When you work for a chubby head coach, you're going to eat good.
The pregame snack took on a whole new meaning.
This is the best part about being in Philadelphia. The cheesesteak.
He'd give a pep talk the night before or talk about the game plan or whatever, and always ended with the same line.
Treat you to a cheeseburger.
Treat you to a cheeseburger.
That's right.
Coach Reid treated me to a cheeseburger. Thanks, Coach.
You want to bet a cheeseburger that they go deep on us the first play?
I'll bet your cheeseburger he bobbled it.
P90X, I can't do that. If I do.
P90X? Yeah, me too. I'm on P180Z. That's the buffet line.
Coming up.
Doug can tell you that I've still got scar tissue from coaching Brett Favre.
You know what, Andy? I love you, man.
Yeah, I can tell. I hope you still love me after I get my ass whipped.
Kareem Hunt gets it again. The rookie running back cuts back left. He's at the 40. It's a 69-yard run by the NFL's new phenom, rookie Kareem Hunt.
How about those? That's right. Hey, great job. Proud of you guys, man.
When Andy Reid and I sat down with 5 of his former assistants who are now head men, the league's longest consecutively tenured coach began thinking about his retirement.
I feel like I'm at a funeral. My funeral.
It's a celebration.
It's a celebration.
It's
That's
like
right.
a birthday
That's
party.
what they say at funerals.
It's a celebration of your life. That's right.
It's a little bit like a morgue with this group right here.
You've been a part of one of these roundtables before for NFL Films, for Mike Holmgren's coaching tree. And there was one topic that you guys talked about that actually came from Bill Walsh when they were in San Francisco together, that when you wanted to yell at a position player, you would yell at the position coach instead.
And it was like smoke coming out. I was like, hey, get out of here.
I didn't say that.
He said, I'm going to beat your dad up.
Is that a thing you continued doing that you, I was going to say, I should probably ask them.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we're in training camp, and I got Jeremiah Trotter going around hitting everything. And he yells at me, Ron!
Tell Trotter!
Will you control him? Can you take control? Can you get... And I turned, and Jeremiah had his head down like this because he knew I was taking the chewing that he should be getting from Coach.
You need to make sure you listen to him. Make sure you listen.
Doug can tell you, though, that I've still got scar tissue from coaching Brett Favre, so it was just a little bit. I was just passing that on to you guys.
You know what, Andy? I love you, man.
Yeah, I can tell. I hope you still love me after I get my ass whipped.
What happened on the screen? Why'd we run that?
That's me.
Why?
That's me.
Why is it you?
That's me. I sent in the wrong thing.
The formation?
Blue right, F short. I sent it in.
That's in the first 15. Let's go.
In one of my first jobs working for Coach comes by one night and says, hey, what are you doing? And I said, I don't know, I'm done. I'm ready to go home, I don't know. And he goes, hey, show me how you hold a marker to draw pictures, X's and O's on the board. So I showed him, he said, no. He said, when you write, you hold it one way. And when you draw X's and O's, you hold it another way.
Fullback shovel pass.
Get rid of all those.
When you talk about details and selling, yourself as a coach to the players so that the buy-in is there.
Can you show me how to hold this pen? Is this okay?
You probably could hold it anyway.
Is it more like this?
You're doing good. You're doing good.
Draw like this?
Yeah.
If you block the detail thing, is such a good point. His coach's football team, he was involved in every single part of the deal, you know?
The coffee machine back here. Go ahead and use the one in the players' locker room. We have a pretty good setup over there. Use that one. Doug, we're in mock. Left guard shoelace broke.
And even special team, coming into the office and saying, okay, take me through the field goal protection. I know what the question is going to be. What happened? Right? What? Just tell me what happened.
What happened on the punt?
On here?
Yeah.
Bad kick.
While Bowles, Peterson, and McDermott are just getting started as head coaches,
Hey, stay humble.
the Panthers' Ron Rivera already has won an NFC championship.
Don't expect anybody else to give you anything or do it for you. You have to do it.
John Harbaugh took his team one step further by winning Super Bowl 47.
How about them Ravens?
I know this, don't make a mistake, because Andy's teams aren't going to. He's taught us well, you know, and we're just trying to do it better than he does it. That's the big challenge. I know one thing, he likes to win.
When things first started for me, I'd get a note from Coach. When things were going tough for me, I'd get a note from Coach, a little text message. So he's constantly thinking about you.
You look good, Coach. I really had a great time when I worked for him. He really is. He took care of us, too. He was so great.
Andy's disciples may still learn a thing or two from their mentor.
Andy Reid, his coaching tree, I tell you, it's pretty impressive.
You can bet with each passing game, Big Red will have plenty of sustenance to offer his team
Hey, everybody! Dinner at Dawkins' house!
and nothing of substance to offer to the media.
You know, I don't know. The Dallas game is the Dallas game. I mean,
All right, guys, thank you for doing this.
thank you. Good job.
It was a pleasure to meet you
Thanks,
all.
guys.
Okay, can you get that camera out of my face?
Hungry pig right? Loaded Tebow pass? We'll explain when we return.
The defensive lineman's dream for sure.
Terry Poe comes in the game as an extra blocker. He's massive.
They give it off to Poe. He's got it. Touchdown! Terry Poe, the defensive lineman's dream for sure.
It's hard to miss Terry Poe. In 2015, the 346-pound defensive lineman became the heaviest player in NFL history to score a touchdown.
Well, those of you that have Terry Poe on your fantasy team, congratulations. But that's basically William Refrigerator Perry right there. He's just wearing 92 for Kansas City.
William the Refrigerator Perry scored 3 touchdowns as a rookie in 1985. Most famously on this 1-yard plunge in the Super Bowl.
Hand off to the
Then, Perry was about 10 pounds lighter than Poe, who has spent 6 years with the Chiefs and Falcons, honing his defensive skills into a 2-time Pro Bowler.
Come on, boy. Come on, now.
He's a monster.
Batted down at the line of scrimmage.
Big, difficult to move. His strength is outrageous.
Help him, pal. Go ahead, Danny, go ahead.
It's the combination of the big guy at 340 pounds with the quickness of a much lighter athlete.
Poe came right up the middle, and Rivers didn't have a chance.
Dude, Terry Poe is a beast. Yeah. He's ridiculous.
Yes, it's hard to miss Terry Poe, but somehow the football world did until he got to high school.
When Terry was in high school and middle school, he was playing in the band.
He was a band member. He beat the drums.
I only played it for a couple years, but I came out like the first day of school, and I just walked out on the field.
See the band out here marching in the back parking lot, and I asked the band director, Mr. Miller, could I speak with that big young fella in the back? Walked over to him and said, son, you ever played football before? He said, no, sir. And I said, well, now you do, and I'll see you tomorrow at practice. That's pretty much how it all started.
But I ain't get on helmet till like my second year. My head was too big for all the helmets in the locker room, so they had to special order me one.
I mean, Don has always had a big head. His body just finally caught up to his head.
But once he realized he could use what God gave him, the light bulb came on. By the time he was a junior, senior, he was something to be reckoned with.
It was a swift rise for Poe, who grew up in a rough neighborhood outside of Memphis. He himself avoided trouble, but his older brother Robert spent 7 years in prison on drug and burglary charges.
We didn't really have much growing up, so when we grew up, we kind of wanted to have things. I took the wrong route on trying to get them.
It was kind of weird for me because I was like, okay, you doing it, so why can't I do it like you? He was like, no, this ain't for you. You kind of, it's something better in life for you, so stay away from it.
Poe stayed close to home at the University of Memphis, in part so he could regularly visit Robert in prison. Meanwhile, his play on the field was attracting national attention.
They were a team, I think they only had won 5 games during those 3 seasons he was there. But if you watched him play, he was on the field for every snap at 340 pounds plus, running down every single play. To see a big man do that, that tells you about Dontari.
But what really made me know how much talent my son had was when he went to the combine.
Here comes Poe. There he goes. Look at this kid running 346 pounds. You kidding me?
That looks so good, doesn't it?
You kidding me?
Smokes.
He ran a 4.87, I remember it. And I was just shocked at how fast he was and how much he had lifted.
10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17.
Got a live one.
That's all you, Poe. Come on, let's go. Let's go, Poe. Hey, boy, let's go. That's what we do. 44. 44.
I mean, he was just a machine.
Goodness.
Dontari Poe. I knew he could do the things that he did at the combine. It was just funny to see everybody else see that.
Poe's legendary performance made it all the way to the Oval Office and rocketed the big man to the 11th pick in the 2012 draft.
So the man who benched the house at Lucas Oil and then lit it up with the rest of the on-field drills, he is now the latest member of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Who the best pass rusher? Who the best pass rush out here, though?
Just get some space, bro, and line up to an edge. So when you do that, it's going to force him to have to step to you.
At his annual football camp, Poe gives a master class in D-line.
I told you, apply pressure with space, bro. Old linemen hate space. Make their ass move their feet.
And even the 40.
Look, this how you hit right here. I need you like this. You ready to go upfield? So put your feet behind and get ready to take off with it.
But rarely does athleticism come in a package his size. It's how he became an every down force on the Chiefs' defense, and later a consideration for Andy Reid's offense.
We was at practice one day, and I was doing a little extra work with the jug machine, and I just started kind of picking them off one-handed, and he was looking like, what is going on? I guess he just haven't never seen me do it. And I think a few weeks later, he was like, man, I got this play for you, Hungry Pig.
Poe is in 92.
So Hungry Pig was actually a play out of heavy Poe personnel. We just shifted him out, then threw him the screen, and let him gobble it up from there.
They got a 3rd and goal at the 1. It's Poe, the catch, the bulldozing move, and a touchdown. What a catch. What a play. It looks like he knows what he's doing.
And then the bloated Tebow pass was the one where he actually threw the football. You know, Tebow started off in the shotgun, and he'd do the fake QB draw and then stop and pop it. So we decided we'd do that with Poe, and it had looked okay in practice. I mean, it wasn't great, but he kept telling me I'm a gamer.
I'm here, Reid. I'm here, Reid. You ready to go? Yeah.
as he's going in now. Their version of the fridge. Here comes Don Terry Poe in.
Let's go, Poe! Let's go, Poe!
This is a shotgun snap to Poe, who's going to throw it. Caught! Demetrius Harris! Touchdown! Kansas City! Hungry Pig is passing.
What a play. You may see that one about 10 million times.
Hey, you got to give the people what they want. Be just like you. You're right here doing one thing I told you.
We had a couple good ones left over, too. I'm not going to tell it to you because Atlanta might use them.
No question. You know, anything that a guy can do to help us win, we're going to be a part of it.
Now Poe is trying to get the Falcons back to the Super Bowl. If that means he has to dust off the Hungry Pig playbook, why not? He's a perfect 3 for 3 on scoring opportunities. The NFL's ultimate weapon.
Do you think he's the best dual threat since Deion Sanders?
I think it's going a little far. He, maybe since the fridge.
I think so. Why not? I mean, how much better can you get from 100%, right?
Y'all match up now. If anybody get burnt, I'm racing you.
It just brings joy to my heart to watch this kid go from an unheard of band player to an all-pro NFL D lineman / athlete. He's one of the great ones.
Next week,
he throws, caught by T.Y. at the 50, 45, down to 40.
They call him the Ghost because of his ability to disappear from defenders.
Touchdown, T.Y. Hill.
But I managed to catch up with him.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Theater.
Yeah? Are you a good actor?
I passed, so.
Okay, ready? Wow.
Let's go.
You guys are in the presence of greatness right now.
Don't miss T.Y. Hilton next week on FS1.